Did you know that everything vibrates at a frequency? Matter, which is anything that has mass and volume, is made up of a further particle, which is a small unit that composes or makes up a substance, and a substance is just matter. Matter is made up of a further particle called atoms. The word atom comes from the Greek word atomos, meaning indivisible. Because you know you can't break up an atom even further, right? No. Atoms are further made up of what we call subatomic particles. The negative little guys are electrons. The neutral neutrons and the positive protons are the subatomic particles. Now think of integers in math. If we have more positives and negatives, then the result is positive integer. Well, with more protons and electrons, neutrons are neutral, so they don't factor in this equation, we get a positively charged atom. The opposite, more electrons and protons, would result in a negatively charged atom. That's it. Atoms make up elements, different basic components of matter, that combine to form everything around us in pure form. An example would be the oxygen we breathe, or the chlorine used to disinfect the community pool in the summertime. Elements combine further to form molecules, like water, which is an oxygen atom with 2 hydrogen atoms bound together chemically. Another compound would be glucose, which is a sugar, and a little bit more complicated, 6 carbon atoms, 12 hydrogen atoms, and 6 oxygen atoms. Then we have different numbers of neutrons, which would give us different isotopes of an element, and different numbers of electrons gained or lost, giving us positively or negatively charged ions, whether stable or unstable, blah, blah. But what happens inside an atom? We know now that, well, we don't know, it's hard to say. The most likely scenario is that the electrons do not simply orbit or move along a trajectory or path around the center of the atom. The nucleus. No. What probably happens is that the electrons sort of appear, pop in and out of places near and far from the nucleus, really fast. This is called an electron cloud. What we also know is that the protons and neutrons of an atom stay in about the same place, the nucleus. The nucleus doesn't move about like an electron. It more so vibrates just a little bit. And remember, a vibration is just a frequency, which is a wavelength. That's what matters. We and everything around us. But what about what isn't? Can there be a particle or particles, just as they build matter, destroy it? Antimatter particles are just those, which we're still looking to establish a model of their behavior or probability thereof, but for now, let's just say they're the opposite of matter. So matter has an opposite, antimatter. Okay. So everything is a frequency that vibrates, moving back and forth, got that too. We can build up matter by mixing them together, like baking a cake, or destroying matter, like using fireworks, lit, extremely reactive, and unstable materials. But how does the world interact with other things, besides fusing and reacting with them? Well yeah, physical forces like motion, gravity, and electromagnetism. And what about their opposites? Opposites to motion, absolute immobility. Well, that can be seen as extreme cooling to absolute zero, which is negative 273.15 degrees Celsius or negative 459.67 degrees Fahrenheit. However, that's only near molecular immobility. There's still a little bit of vibration happening. What if there was a force that stopped all motion, being time and space? Now, we're bordering science fiction, but it's a definite possibility. What if there is a force to oppose gravity? What if there is a force to oppose electricity, being the movement of electrons or magnetism, opposite forces attracting? This is all very well probable, and many physicists are looking into it and have been for some time, discovering these forces. But not only are the scientists or team of scientists each a Nobel Prize, but imagine what it can do for the world. Maybe not stopping space and time, but an anti-gravity force for energy-efficient planes, flying cars, or really fast space travel. We'd never have to worry about running out of fuel. What if there was a force to move against gravity and friction? And get this. An opposite to electromagnetism, anti-electromagnetism. You can see I'm getting very creative with the names here. An opposite to electricity might just be the renewable energy source we need. It is in fact an opposite to electricity. I guess in that case it would be the immobility of protons without having to be generated. It's just there. But if it's the opposite, how would it be an energy source? Well, everything is energy, whether untapped potential or accessible kinetic. We can just sort of draw it for use. And even if we use a little bit more energy to convert it, it would be so much less that all of the coal burnt to heat the water that produces steam, to power a generator for the electricity to reach homes, which in that process 2/3 is lost, just gone, converted to heat or pollution. But with protonicity, or what do we call it? Yes, anti-electricity. Man, we gotta think of a better name for that. We would draw only as much as we need. Hardly anything lost during conversion. That's if we need to use some energy, mind you, way less to convert it. Okay, but what's the opposite of magnetism? With magnetism, opposite forces, north and south, attract, and forces of the same charge repel. Easy, right? With anti-magnetism, if we can get opposite forces to repel, that could change the way we think of any law of physics. It could destroy matter. Okay, maybe that's not constructive. Maybe we can fuse brand new ionic atoms to make super positive or super negative atoms. Perhaps we don't need to discover or see a new force to know it's there. After all, the world could turn because of their existence. Just like the regular fundamental forces, being gravity, electromagnetism, weak nuclear force, and strong nuclear force. What if we can use these forces right now to our advantage?